Hi, I'm Bill Brigham. I'm the instructor of PSYC515 Chemical Dependence, and welcome to the course. I want to give you some introduction here to the structure of the course, the content of the course, what we'll be doing in it, to hopefully get you off to a good start. I've been teaching this course at Roosevelt for about 10 years. I've been teaching a classroom and online for almost 40 years, I guess. My work in the addictions field began back in the early 70s when I was in graduate school for social work and worked in a group home for substance abusers who had been released from the California Youth Authority, which is a juvenile prison out here in California, which is where I live and have always lived. Following that, a couple colleagues and I started a residential treatment program for heroin addicts. And after that, I worked in methadone maintenance programs, treatment of heroin addiction. And subsequent to that, began a counselor training program at a private college out here in California, and taught in that program and teach sociology as well, and I also teach film studies. So my background is kind of varied. Some of it goes way back when the addictions field was somewhat unsophisticated compared to where it is today, and happily today we know much more. I just recently retired after 20 years as the administrator of the National Football League's substance abuse program, where we evaluated and treated players who were identified with substance problems. So kind of a unique population, but addiction is addiction, so to speak, and so the work we did with those young men was pretty typical, although they were anything but typical. So what I want to do is give you an overview of the course. Course description says psychosocial view of contemporary substance abuse, types and classes of addictive substances, review of treatment approaches. So we'll cover all that. I mean, this is not a course that's going to prepare you to function solely as an addictions counselor, certainly. There's more training and certification and licensure that you would get to do that. But it certainly is going to give you the kind of introduction that you need. Regardless of whether you're going to work in the addictions field or not, you're going to encounter it. Some of you, of course, are already working there in the field in some capacity, maybe just in a practicum or maybe professionally, and you've dealt with addictive behavior before. So certainly we can learn from you throughout the course as well. So the course is based around various materials. The first is a textbook, Treating Addiction, a Guide for Professionals, a really good book. It's very accessible. I think you'll enjoy reading it. It's diverse. It covers a lot of areas of addiction, and we'll read that book in its entirety. We will first, though, start off by reading a novel, Requiem for a Dream. Some of you may be familiar with the film that was made from the book. Some may have read the book. And I want to use a novel because as sort of the entree to all of this, because it's not quite as dry as a textbook, of course, and nowhere near as dry as me talking to you. And it's a book that captures quite well the descent that some folks take when they get engaged with psychoactive substances. I mean, it's sort of like the downfall of these characters. It's an unusual book in the way that it's written. Hubert Selby, the author who had his own addiction problems with opiates, writes in a style that you will struggle with for a while. No punctuation, no quotation marks. You don't know who's speaking to whom. But after you get into the groove with the book, I think you'll find it fascinating and useful not necessarily entertaining, like I say, but it's a good way for us to get started talking about addiction without dealing with the sort of dry material that ordinarily courses will jump right into. And also, I've got some video clips from an HBO series on addiction. It's called Addiction. That's the name of it. It was produced in conjunction with the National Institute on Drug Abuse. So it's a pretty sophisticated but very accessible series of videos that will touch upon different parts of addiction. So those are the three requirements: reading the novel Requiem for a Dream, reading the textbook Treating Addiction, viewing the video clips that I assigned. There are a lot that I don't assign. Obviously, you can look at any of them in addition to the assigned ones that you want. I also recommend that you have a style guide, or you make sure that you access some of the online style guides for APA and others for your written assignments, because I am kind of an old-fashioned stickler for proper grammar, citation format, clear, cogent writing. And it's very important. And so that's something that'll be a focus of the course. And so having one of these style guides, and this stuff is all available online. You don't necessarily have to buy any. I cite on the syllabus, though, a couple of examples of something you could pick up for not an awful lot of money. So that's recommended to you. On the syllabus, which of course is on the website, and you can access it at any time or print out a hard copy, which I think is not a bad idea. I've got broken down week by week what we will cover, including the readings, viewing the videotape, and postings on the discussion boards. I've got discussion boards up there for Requiem, for the Treating Addiction textbook, for the addiction video, for comments on these little videos that I will have up each week with my exciting lectures, and also a discussion board for anything, if things come up. I will, during the course, bring in information that I've come across in a journal. There might be news about addiction, whatever. And if you have those kinds of things that you want to add to the course, put them in that discussion board that's kind of open to anything, where we can talk about things. And, talking about the discussion boards, because this is asynchronous, that is to say, we're not meeting face to face. Even online, we're not meeting face to face. And so we're not all connected at the same time. So posting your comments as assigned in the syllabus and as you wish in addition to that is really important, so that we can see what each other is saying about their experiences in reading and examining different aspects of addiction during the course. So, it's the best we can do with this format to engage with one another, and that's what I really want to do, because we can all learn from one another throughout this course. And so I don't grade for participation, but as graduate students, hopefully you're motivated to do that anyway. And you want to benefit from your fellow students and hopefully from me. And so by posting your comments and you want to exchange emails with me, that's great as well. I think you'll learn more from that than not participating. There's a separate document on the website for the assignments for the course. And you want to look at that carefully. You want to particularly pay attention to dates of when things are due. But to just kind of quickly touch upon it, I've got some guidelines at the top of this thing, and then the actual assignments. The first is going to be a review of Requiem for a Dream. You're going to write what is essentially a book review, a critique, and an analysis, a response of your conclusions or assessment or opinions about Requiem for a Dream and how well it helps you understand and connect with addiction. And so I've got some pretty extensive guidelines and comments in there about how you're to write this review of Requiem. Then you're going to also write a paper on one of the chapters that I have you view from the addiction DVDs, okay? You're not writing a paper on all of these assignments. You can just pick one. You might pick the chapter that talks about using cognitive behavioral therapy in the treatment of stimulant addiction. You might pick the one on treatment of opioid abuse, pain medication abuse, whatever. You pick one and you write a review about that, and again, the guidelines are included in the assignments document. Number 3 is a field assignment of sorts where you are to go to a treatment program or interview a practitioner who is treating in the addictions field, or go to a 12-step meeting, AA, Smart Recovery, Narcotics Anonymous, whatever. One of those, or if you've got some creative idea of your own, you can run that by me and see if that's okay to do that. And so you're going to do that visit out in the world, so to speak. There's got to be something new, not where you work, not somebody you know, not some program that you're already familiar with. I want you to introduce yourself to something new. And then you're going to write a paper about that. Again, all the details are in there. And then fourth and last is you're going to write review papers of 2 journal articles. So you need to find 2 professional journal articles related to addiction and write a review of each of those 2. And again, the details are there in the assignments document as to exactly how you do that. I've got important dates to remember at the end of this assignments document as a reminder to you of when each assignment is due. The grading is broken out in the document. It's for those 4 things: a Requiem review, the addiction DVD review, the treatment program interview paper, and the 2 reviews of journal articles. Okay, that's what your grade is based upon. You'll see the breakdown in that document. And then I've got a little writing rubric which I use as kind of a guideline for looking at your papers and grading them. And you'll see the categories that I've got listed there as to what I think are the important elements of the paper for me to look at and to assess how well you did in the paper. So this syllabus and writing assignments no doubt is going to raise questions for you. Please do not hesitate to ask me any questions about any aspect of the course anytime. If you want to do that by email directly, that's great. You want to post something on the discussion board, that's fine too. I've also got my cell phone listed on the syllabus if we can't handle it by email or by text. I text a lot, so if you want to text me, that's fine too. Then you could give me a call if it's something that just is a little more complicated and you want to do it that way. Let me see. Yeah, my email address, of course, is on the syllabus as well. So that's kind of it to get started, and I will have videos during the course to flesh out things from that week's assignments or other things I want to add to it, something new maybe that's come up. I want to try and keep the videos current if I can, so I'm redoing them as we go along. So welcome. I hope you enjoy the course. I hope you learn from the course. I will learn from you. I always do. So I look forward to it. Take care, and I will see you next time. Bye.